get started. Okay. So the last class we have seen how we can use the conditional statements. That means how we can use if, elif, and else checking for performing some calculation or performing any kind of comparison, right? So just this is the general syntax. So if case 1 is true, then it will perform action 1. Elif, it will go and check for case 2 and then perform the action 2, and else perform the action 3. So this is the general syntax, how we can build this kind of conditional statements. Now we are directly going to the example. Now think of if we are checking a Boolean operator. So I think what are Boolean operators? That is only the 0, 1 or 1. That means whether it is false or whether it's a true, it will check that. And intentionally here it is written that it is checking that whether it is true, if condition is true. Okay, and then it is printed here that it was true. Okay, so if you run this, you will get it is true because you are already checking this true statement within the if statement. Okay, now if you are trying to modify this code by writing false, so please remember that this T will be always capital, otherwise that will not be matched with the keyword that is true and it will not run. Similarly for false, if you are trying to run the same code, what will happen? Suppose you are trying to print that if it is false, so it will print false. Okay, now check what will happen. It gives nothing. It gives nothing in return, right? You can check that. I am running it again. Nothing. So why so? Because you are checking false, right? You are not checking whether it is true. So that is the difference. So for that, you need to add some more comparison, some more conditional statements, and that is why the else is required. Okay, say for example, take this example. Now we are not fixing directly in the code. Now we are checking if x. We are just checking if x. This is the syntax, the same syntax what we have written there. If x and x we have already taken as false. The same syntax, you can write it in different way, because often you will see that we are not using true false, but we are comparing some values, right? We are comparing some variables. So that's why it is taken like this. X we have already fixed, that is false. Now we are checking if x, so that means it is false or not. Print x was true, and then else we are using another condition, else, and there it is printing that I will be printed if any case where x is not true. Okay, now if you run this, you are getting that the second line is printed because it is coming from else statement. All right, so another example, it will be more verified. So just wait for some time if it is not clear right now. So for the timing, you must understand that these are only the conditional checking going on here. If condition and else condition. These are all conditional statements. And remember that this indentation is very much important. Suppose we are writing in any IDE, and there if you just write if x colon, then you press enter, it will take automatically some spaces, right? And then you type something. So that indentation is very much important, because here no curly bracket or anything is used for separating the blocks. So now this is one block, right? This is known as one block, which is under if statement. Similarly, under else statement, this is one block. So how we can mark these are different blocks. So that is the way. That is why indentation is used. All right. So indentation means you need to give the specific number of white spaces. All right.
So why it is important, sir?
Yes, because see here we are not using some curly bracket or anything for marking that these are separate blocks. So if I am writing this, so how the code will know that which portion is under if block and which portion is under else block, right? So there is nothing mentioned over here, isn't it? So it will read line by line. If X, it will try to print something, then it will go else, and then it will try to print something. But you know, if else condition will not run at all, because that will give you some error. So you need to give the indentation, and by that way you are marking that this is a block which is under if block, and then only it will first check this part, and if it is true or false, based on that that next line will be read by this code, that is else. Okay, so that is the syntax. You need to place some white spaces or indentation is mandatory, so that the code will know that how much it will go for each step. You can write many things, many lines over here also, right? You can write many things under the if statements. So it will check all these things, and then it will go to else statement. We'll see more example, and it will be clear, I guess. Okay, now not only the two condition if or else, you can add many more conditional statements. So those are known as multiple branches or chained conditional statements, like elif, right? So we have discussed about this in the last class also. Now let's take this example. Suppose you are writing one code for checking something. Suppose many times you have seen that whenever you are trying to log into some user account, so they are asking for the user account and then the password, right? So what do you think? That user ID and password, that should be matched. That should be matched, and then only the account will open, right? So in any database that is already there in that website or that server, so which knows that what for what user ID, which one is the password. So that is already known thing, known factors. This is already there. Now you are trying to build one interface where the user will give the input and user will give the password, and if that match, so then it will open. So that kind of thing. Okay. So now you are writing that part. You are writing that part that you need to check that whether the user ID and password are matched. So just like thing. So here in this code, suppose the user is asked that please enter your location. So where are you? Okay, and there are three conditions given, not three, two conditions: Photoshop and bank. Okay, so user need to say that whether it is Photoshop or whether he or she is in bank now. If it is Photoshop, so that will match and that will be okay. If it is bank, really bank, and if he or she is entering bank, if it is matched with that condition, so it will print that welcome to the bank, or else it will ask you again where are you. So this kind of code you are trying to write. So first thing, you need to input that line or command, enter your location please, which will be stored in log, this variable. And now you are starting your if block. Okay. So within this if block, you are comparing your input variable, whether it is equal, that means you are comparing, not you are hard coding, not you are assigning something. This is the conditional checking. Okay. So don't miss one equal symbol, then that will be wrong, it will not run. So you are checking that whether this variable value is equal to this AutoSolve. If it is true, if it is okay, so then it will print welcome to AutoSolve. Otherwise, it will check for another value. So now it will go to the elif block, elif conditional checking. Again, it will check that variable with bank, this word. If it is matched, so then it will print welcome to bank. And if it is also false, so then it will go to else and it will print where are you. So remember that there is a logic for elif statements. So I told you earlier also, this is the logic. Where is that? Yes. So if condition executed only if condition is true, elif, that means you are checking another condition, executed only if condition was false and other condition is true. So that means this is only true, but the previous one is false. In that case, it will run. Else executed only if both condition and other condition are false. So that means both this condition and this condition is false, then only it will run in else condition. Okay, that is the logic. And you can add multiple elif condition for checking in between if and else. All right. So simple case you are taking here. So now you check this. What will happen? Suppose you have written this and you are checking this with bang. So you are hard coding this for checking. So how it will check and what it will be printed, that you can understand, right? You are taking this bank word in this variable. So when you are moving to this block, it will check that whether this bank word is AutoSolve or not. So obviously you can see that manually that it is false. So it will not be printed, right? So then it will move to this block and it will check that this bank word, yes, it is also bank. So it will print welcome to bank, and this will not enter to else block at all. Okay, so this print statement will be from here, and you can see that if I run this, so welcome to bank. Now you can change this word AutoSolve also, and in that case you are getting this output from here, welcome to the AutoSolve. Now by mistake you have entered something like this, only auto. Now you can check that these are false, so it is printing by this print statement. Okay, so now
Sir, I got confused. I don't understand. Yeah, I got seen elif and else.
yes,
If lock first is lock is equal to bank, that was show the welcome to the bank.
yes,
But else, where are you? It means if I put it something without bank, I say something my name or something else.
yes,
So that's time it show where are you.
right. So it is not matching with any one of these AutoSolve or bank, and that's why it is asking where are you.
So it was third option. if elif and else was the third option, third or fourth option.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes, right. So now this is hard coded. You are not taking any input from the user, right? You are writing this code for just testing purpose. Now you need to modify it for user input. So that is very easy. You just comment it and take this using input, this operator input to keyword you place there. And now if you run, you will find that it is asking for some input. So your location, please. Okay. So that's why I have started with that user ID and password concept. Now this is your what I say, this is your password kind of thing. Okay, this is your password kind of thing. Now if you write bank, so that means it is checking whether your user ID was there bank, and now it is checking with that bank, it is matched, and if match, so it will print welcome to the bank. All right. Again, I am running this. So again, it will ask you for another location. So location, please. Now, suppose you are in Autoshop now. So you are writing Autoshop and enter. So it is saying that welcome to Autoshop. Now, suppose by mistake you are in Autoshop, but you just type auto and then press enter. So it is saying it is not matched to Autoshop or bank, and that's why it is asking where are you. That is the logic. Okay. Any doubt, any question regarding this? I think now it's clear. Okay.
Or some example, so it will be clear then.
Yes. Okay. There are several examples given here. Suppose you are wanting to check that whether a person name is Sammy or not. Now you are taking this Sammy name in a variable person, and now you are checking that variable with some name Sammy. So if it is matched, it will print welcome Sammy. Else it will print welcome. What's your name? So here you are just checking that whether the name is Sammy or not. Okay. If Sammy, print this. Else print this. So this kind of simple example you are taking, and write this.
Sir, so here there is no elif function.
No.
Like
so it is not mandatory that you need to use a leaf condition all the time. It is based on your queries. It is based on your conditional checking statements. Okay. So if it is required,
so I can have okay. So I can here enter elif person is equal to Rocky. So
yes.
Print get lost.
Right. So yes. So last the second example. So it is checking that whether it is Sammy or whether it is George. So your question is like this, right?
Sir.
So you are trying to compare with another person. Yes. So that you can do. Right. So that is the logic. Whenever you are trying to compare with the condition, so then you need to put this elif condition. Otherwise, you can only use if else statements. No problem. But the syntax need to be followed. You cannot start with elif. You cannot start with else. Okay. You need to start with if. You need to end with else, and in between if and else, you can put elif condition. So that is the.
Okay.
So now you can understand that this person name was already Sammy, and it is checking with this letter Sammy or Sammy. So obviously it will print welcome Sammy. And now you are taking George. So this will not be true, right? George is not equal to Sammy. So it will go to elif statement and it will print welcome George. Okay. Now let's see some more example with comparison for numbers. Now, if I am saying that I have taken two numbers, that is 10 is stored in one variable x and another 10 is stored in another variable y. Okay. Now you are checking that if x less than y, print x is less than y. Else, you are checking whether x greater than y, then you are printing x is greater than y. Else, print x and y are equal. So actually, if you are comparing two number, obviously either that will be less or either that will be greater than or equal. So these three options are available, and now you are writing in this way. Now what do you guess? What it will print? So we have already fixed this number 10 and 10.
X and Y are equal.
Yes. So though you can check it manually, yes, x and y are 10, and that's why you can directly say that x and y are equal. But you must put this condition, you must check this condition by using 10 and 10 value. So then also you will get the same result, that if statement is false, elif statement is also false, and that's why it is printing from x. Okay. And how you can check for this number? Suppose you are hard coded the y value. Now you can check another value by this way also. So now x is taking by the keyboard, means user will input this x value. That also possible. Okay. So in that case, you are entering the number, and suppose you are entering that 1000. So now it will be checking in the same way, that now x is this 10,000 and y is 10, right? So now you can check for this and this, you will get the answer. What will be that? If I run this, what will be the output? Now
X is greater than Y.
right. So it is printing x is greater than y. All right. Good.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, what is the function of that int that you have written in before input?
Okay. So it is discussed in the very first class or variable when we are discussed.
Integer.
Yes. So that is for integer. We
Okay,
cannot.
so that means in the input panel, the
Need
panel will
to-
only accept integers.
Right. You cannot put float value. So then it will be an error. So when you know that you are trying to put some input, so then you are using this integer. Otherwise, you just take the input value, and that will be treated as a float in general. Okay. Now, this same thing you can write in this way also. So that is the example of nested conditional loop. So if, else, and then you are checking if and else. So this is very much complicated in some time. So do not try to use this kind of nested condition if it is absolutely required. Try to concentrate this if, elif, and else, this simple form, this simple kind of conditional statements. Okay. Now we have seen how to check a given user given number is even or odd. This is also discussed in the earlier class. So this is the syntax typed here. X equal to integer, input, enter any integer number. So that's why, see, you are taking the integer number, and that's why you are marking this as integer value. That's why you are using in. Now the condition you are checking, if x modulo, so this is not percentage symbol, this is known as modulo, and that remainder is equal to 0 if it is satisfied this condition. So that means you are taking any value. Suppose you are taking 10, so you are dividing 2, so you are not getting any remainder part, so it is 0 in that case, and obviously it will print that x is even, so that means 10 is even, right? And if it is not satisfied, directly you are saying that else, print x is odd. So because only two possibilities are there, even or odd, and that's why you are not checking with any other condition. So only two conditions are checked, or even or odd. Okay. Now if you run this, you can check. You can type any number. Suppose 4. You are getting x is even, and you are putting 3. So you are getting it is odd. Okay. Very simple logic. Now, how you can print this x value, what you are taking, 3, that it will show 3 is odd, right? So if else is very easy in this case. Now my question is, if you are trying to show that instead of x, it will print 3 is even. So what you will do?
Sir, I don't understand the question. Actually.
Question is, here it is saying that every time, whether you are entering some odd value or even value, it is showing that x is odd or x is even. Okay. So my question is, if you are trying to print instead of x, that particular value you are entering from the keyboard. Say for example, you are running this 19 and you are getting x is odd as output, right? So now my question is, if you are trying to print 19 is odd, that will be shown. So what modification is required for this print statement?
Sir.
Yes.
Sir,
X comma then the statement
So where I will place
in
that?
in the print statement.
Yes.
X comma
X,
like this
comma.
X is odd.
Again I will print x is odd.
I mean I will
Sir, we need to erase
delete
that
the
X.
X.
Okay. So in that case, you can write in this way: x
Yes, sir.
is odd. Right. Let's check. Yes, 19 is odd. All right. So this is not required. And here also you can do the same thing: x, comma, is even. Okay. Now you check. You put this 10 and enter. So it is showing that 10 is even. All right. You are just modifying the print statement, nothing else. Okay. Any question?
Sir, I don't understand what is the function of if x% 2 is equal to 0, because here we directly input the number. So that was
Okay.
always show the even, it is 10 is even, 19 is odd. But what is the function of the x% 2? That result was the odd or even, the calculations number.
Yes. So this is very basic mathematics. Okay. X, it is not a divide symbol. It is a modulo symbol. So it defines that it will give you the remainder part, and you are checking that if the number you are taking, that is 10 or 20 or any value you are taking, that will be divided by 2, and it will check for the remainder value if that is 0. Okay. So what is the logic? How you can identify one even number? If you are dividing that number by 2 and you are not getting any remainder part, that means that is even, right?
Yes, sir.
So by that way, these function, this modulo function, this modulo operator will give you the remainder part only. And if you just a minute. So you are taking x equal to 10, and now you are writing x modulo 2, and so I'm directly printing this thing. Print this. So what it will print? What it will be print?
Remainder, sir.
Sorry.
X.
The remainder of the.
Yes. So
Zero.
what will be that? What value will be printed?
Sir, 5.
5.
0.
Sir, 0, sir.
Okay, let's check. So it is printing 0 because it is divisible by 2. 10 is divisible by 2. And now if you change this 2 by 3, so then what will be the remainder?
1.
1, right? So that is the logic. Now you are checking this whether it is 0, and that value, if 0, so 0 and 0 satisfied, this condition is true, so then it is printing that it is even, else it is printing it is odd. Okay, I think it is clear now. Who asked me this question? Now it is clear. Okay, now I have given 3 questions for practice purpose, and I got one query regarding that. So let me first check these things. So for write a Python program to check if the number given by user is positive or negative. So that is already done. And then also I am writing in this way that if you don't know else or if else conditional statements, so you know only if statements. So you are very novice and you can write this code by this way also. So suppose you are just practicing. So how can you develop your coding potential by this way? That you are trying to get one number, any value in number variable. And now you are checking if num equal greater than 0, and then print that number is positive number. That's all. So again, you are checking another number -1, and you are checking again that whether it is greater than 0. If true, so then it is saying that it is not positive number. That means it is negative number. And again, you can check this -1 value with 0. We are comparing that whether -1 is less than 0. If it is true, so then it is printing is not a positive number. Okay, so this is simple logic you are trying to apply. You can do this, so you will get this results. So this, now remember that I told you if block is only up to this one. So whatever you are printing outside this loop statement, outside this conditional statement, so that will be printed as it is. It has no relationship with this previous condition check. Okay, so that's why it is printed over here. So similarly, this print statement is also printed after checking, because see, it is true 3 you have taken and number 3 is more than or greater than 0, and that's why it is printing that 3 is positive number, and then this line is printed outside the block. Okay, now the code reads this line where number equal to -1, and now it is checking that whether that is greater than 0 or not. So -1 is not greater than 0, right? So that's why this line will not be printed, but this line will be printed. So that's why here you can see in the output, this is also always printed from the second block. So this line is outside the second block. Now the code will read this line num equal to -1 again. So if -1 less than 0, so obviously it will print that this is not a positive number. Yes, that is printed here, and this line also printed. This is also always printed from the third block. So this is the logic how this code runs. Okay, but this is not the answer of this question, because this is just for testing how the code runs. Now here it is told that to check if the number given by user is positive or negative. So obviously this is not the way. So what you can do, you can try by this way also. Now you know how to use else statement. So you are applying your logic that you take one number and then you are trying to compare that number greater than equal to 0. Okay. Now you are printing positive or 0, else print negative. Now you have already taken 1 as a test case. So what will be printed? So 1 greater than or equal to 0. So it is true or false? 1 greater than or equal to 0.
True.
Yes. Yes. What are you saying?
So it will print positive or 0.
Positive or 0, because it is 1. So 1 will be checked with 0, and it is true. 1 is greater than or equal to 0. So it will print positive or 0. So you can check that positive or 0. Now you are taking as a test case negative. So it is saying that is negative number. And if you are taking, so why I am testing this thing? Because it is necessary to check using the test cases. Otherwise you cannot understand why this is running or why this is not running. So every time you need to check with different conditional value. So now if you are checking that number equal to 0, so it is saying that positive or 0. Now you know only if and else, so that's why you cannot differentiate between positive or 0. So whether it is positive or whether it is 0, that you cannot specify by using only if and else statements, and that's why you need another condition checking option, that is else. Okay, so one by one you need to apply this thing. So till now you can check that whether it is positive or 0, but you are not sure what it is exactly, 0 or 1. And now so you know that yes, if you can use this thing. Okay, so so you can write in this way also: if this, print this; if this, print this; else this. So what do you think? It will work or not? So it is not elif condition actually. You are using different if statements. So you can do, but if you are using elif, so you can write in this way: if num is equal to 0, is printing 0. Elif, it will be checked with greater than 0. It will print positive number, else print negative number. So now think carefully. If I am taking num equal to 1, so what it will be print in this case?
Positive number.
Positive number, not 0, not negative number, right? You have checked with all this condition, and then you are saying. So you need to check all these conditions. If condition which will be executed only if condition is true, elif, then you are checking another condition executed only the previous condition was false and this other condition is true, else executed only if both the previous condition, that is this one and this one, are false. Now think logically. If you are taking 1 and you are trying to write this, so what will be your output? If you can answer this correctly, so that means you understood if, elif, and else statement.
So it is checking up to 0. So the number, if the number is less than 0, then it will be negative, and if the number is equal to 0, then it will be it will print 0. So
Yes.
it is continuously checking of 0, not in 1 actually.
No, what will be the output? You have already taken the value of number, that is 1.
Hmm.
So now my question is, what will be the output? Whether it will be print 0 or whether it will print positive number or whether it is print negative number or any
So
combination.
So it's a positive number.
Positive number.
Positive number.
So all of you are saying that this will print positive number, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
1 was greater than 0.
Yes. And now,
So that's why it's
yes.
in the elif condition. There shows that the number, if number was the greater than 0, so it
Mhm.
print positive number.
Right.
So if we want, so it obviously show the result
Yes. Now
positive number.
you should compare this also. Else executed only if both condition and other condition were false. Now, is it satisfied? Yeah.
Yes, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
Are you getting my point? So it is not satisfying this
No, sir.
thing. So if you run this, what will happen? What will happen? Now let's check this positive number, and if you are checking with 0, now what it will be?
0.
Only 0?
Yes, sir. It will print 0.
Okay, I'm running this 0, and if I'm taking any minus value,
Negative number.
negative number. Okay, so that is satisfying all these 3 test conditions, right? Okay, so so you have understood this logic. Now you are using this. So earlier case, you first tested this whether that is 0 or not, and now you are trying to compare that whether it is greater than or not. And inside the elif condition, you are checking that whether it is 0 or not, and then you are printing is negative number. Now tell me what will happen. Now, for your purpose, I am sharing this also. So just consider that conditions for each
So the
statement.
same thing will happen.
No, sir, not the same thing. If it is 0, then also it will print positive number. Everything. No.
How print
No, no,
0
no.
is there?
Same thing, sir.
It will print 0.
So I am taking 1 first time. So it will print
So
Positive number.
positive number. And if I am printing 0, if we are using 0 as a test case,
Sir, it will print 0.
okay. Everyone is saying 0.
Sir, it's also a positive number.
So
sir,
if
it
it
will
is
print
0, it will print 0.
Okay, let's run. It is 0, and now I am taking 1. So you are saying that it will print positive number, all of it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, positive number. And if I am taking negative value, so it will print negative value, right? Negative value. So it is also satisfying this thing. Now you can understand that not necessary you need to write in this way, or you need to consider your conditional statements in this way. You can jumble this order, this condition checking statements, but you need to test with this all these conditions whether that is giving you the right output or not. Why I am saying so? Now you run this. So first we are taking 1. What will happen for this case?
Positive numbers.
Positive number. Okay. Let's run positive number. And if I am taking 0,
0.
0. All of you are saying 0.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's run 0 and -1. So now
Negative numbers.
negative number. Okay, so it is also showing the same way. So you can run this thing in many different ways according to your conditional statements check. Okay, all these 3 codes are different, but it is satisfying your conditions. Okay, now another question was given, that is this one. Suppose you want to know that size of microRNA is maybe 20, 22 or 25. You have isolated and sequenced a microRNA and got the length of microRNA as 25 using if-else statements, display an appropriate message after checking all these possible conditions. So that means this is also again the user ID and password like case. So in a database, the sequence length is already there. So that may be 20, that may be 22, or maybe 25. Now, when you are experimenting out, you are getting one small sequence and you calculated that length, that is 25. Now you are checking that whether that is in the database or not. If it is there, so it will print that yes, it is there. If it is not matched out of 20, 22, and 25, then it is saying that okay, it is not there. So that is the question. Now I'm sharing your code. I got one code. Just a second. Yes. So here, can you see this? I need to share my full screen, otherwise. Yes. Now, here you can see if you are writing in this way. So you are checking that if size microRNA equal to 20, the length of microRNA is 20. If size microRNA equal to 22, print the length of microRNA 22. Else print length is 25. So do you think that this is correct way to write the code, whether it will give you the right output or not?
No, sir.
Okay. Why you are saying no?
Because it checks only for 20, 22, and 25 and no other values greater than that.
Greater than or less than? Anyway.
Sir, if anything other than 25 is also there, I mean other than 20 or
Will
22,
print
it will print it is
25.
25.
Right. So that is not checked here. And another thing is that you are hard coded this 30 value, and the question says user will take the input, right? So that is main problem. Now if you are testing with 30 value, then I am running this thing, so you can check that what will happen. Now you can check that the output is saying the number is positive, and the length of microRNA is 25, but you have taken 30. So okay, so it is printing from here. Don't use this one. Now you can see that the length is showing that microRNA is 25, but you have taken the input as 30. So absolutely it is wrong output you are getting, isn't it? They have
Yes, sir.
taken to 30 and it is showing that length of microRNA is 25. So problem with this kind of code may arise. So you need to check what is your input and what condition you are checking and what you are getting as out. Every time you need to check. All right. Now showing how you can write this code. I think this is now shared, right? Okay.
Yes, sir. We can see the screen.
Okay. So you are taking any value like 15, and now you are trying to compare this 15 value with some 10 value like this way, and then you are printing microRNA length is 10, elif that is checked with 15, and elif that is checked with 25, and then you are printing this else statement microRNA length is not present. So you are checking all these three. So this is not the same as given here. Don't be confused. So here 20, 22, and 25 was given, right? So you can modify it. 20, 22, and 25. All right. Now, if you run this, what will happen?
microRNA length is not present.
So you are getting this thing.
Sir,
Now,
print value is wrong, I think, sir. Elif I equal to 22 and mRNA mi length is 15. That's not justifying actually.
and that's why no, we are just checking that whether this miRNA length is 15 or not. Okay. Okay. So you are
Yes,
saying
sir.
this.
Sir,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. So now you can see that microRNA length is not present. And now if you are changing this with 22, so you are getting that microRNA length is 22. If you are taking 25, it is 25, and if you are taking 20, it is also showing 20. So that means the code is running perfectly well. We have tested all these 3-4 conditions. Okay. Now you just change this I not as hard-coded value, but user input. That is by input option. Okay. Just you need to just modify this line. So then it will run. Now the thing is, my question is, if you are changing this, if you are changing this like this way, so you are comparing 25, so then 20, and then 22, and then 20. Now what will happen? I have just reordered these values, whatever conditional statements it is checking. The first time checking 25, then 22, and then 20.
So if we arrange the print statement in proper way, I mean the whatever we have
Okay,
given
so-
in the print,
so you are
then
saying
it will be
5,
same.
22, and
Then it
20.
will be same.
It will be same, you are saying, right?
Yes, after arranging it will be same. If it now it will print 20. The miRNA length is 20.
20. Okay, let's check it. 20, 22, 25, and some number. Okay, so you can change this order, but
Sir, we can use multiple elif options, sir.
right, whenever required. That is the
Okay, sir.
logic. That is the logic. If you are checking more than 2-3 conditions, So only if else will not be sufficient. So you need to use elif condition. All right. So I could not start the for loop today. Today's time is over. So I will set another class on Thursday. Okay. Thursday. So tomorrow is holiday, and next Thursday I'll take another class, and I will try to at least start the for loop and all. Okay, then you can utilize this thing, because you see for loop is very much necessary for any kind of simple program also. Okay, so if I am trying to print a Python word, each of these letter from this Python statement, Python word, so then also we need some for
Thursday you will take class from 9 a.m.
9 a.m. obviously.
Okay.
Okay. I think then you don't have any class, right? Thursday 9 a.m.
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. So then today's class time is over. Stop here and you can leave. Bye. And revise this thing. If you have any doubt, you can ask me day after tomorrow. Happy Moala in advance.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.